Hello and welcome to Janette's TV and Janette's TV podcast. I'm your host, Janette Burke, live on location at the Vaughan International Film Festival's spring launch, where we just learned all about this year's festival and what we can expect from the winners to the entertainment. And of course, we are here as the official media sponsor. Now, before we get into today's episodes, I want to remind you that if you haven't already done so, please click the link below to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you can support us with the purchase of a Janette's TV or Janette's TV podcast t-shirt or sweatshirt with either the JTV logo and tagline or an inspirational saying made by me and a previous guest in a previous episode. The choice is yours. You pick your color, your size. Everything's conveniently shipped straight to your front door and includes shipping and handling. Now on with today's episode. And I'm standing here with Ratni Nair, who is from The Rush News Talk Radio at the Vaughan International Film Festival, where she just finished doing a great job as an MC host.
Thank you, Janette.
Janette's TV and Janette's TV Plus.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, tell me how you got involved in this event.
I met Antonio, the brains behind the Vaughan International Film Festival, and like our counselor, Francesca, said here, we're just hooked on Antonio and the energy he creates. So 11 years of incredible International Film Festival production, and I just wanted to be a part of it. So I'm really excited for what he's put together. Films from all around the world, but also supporting our high school students in Ontario. We have more than a dozen submissions from Ontario high school filmmakers. And I just think supporting the local community is very important all the time. So any organization that's doing it, I want to be a part of it.
You have a connection to Vaughan. Were you born and raised here in Vaughan?
No, I was born in Rexdale, which kind of feels like the original Vaughan. But no, I mean, I grew up going to Canada's Wonderland. I remember Vaughan from many decades ago because I've lived that long, Janette. So I've seen the development and how much it's grown, and I love everything about Vaughan. But no, I have not been born and raised in Vaughan, no.
Okay, so I'm not from Vaughan either, like born and raised, but I do actually reside in part of it.
That's great. Yeah. And so you must have seen how it's changed and developed and grown.
Yes, and well, I remember coming to Canada's Wonderland, and it was like fields all around.
All around. That was it. And there was that one roller coaster, the Minesweeper, my favorite one, which is still running.
And I remember going to see Rick Astley at the Kingswood Music thing.
Oh my God!
And, I wasn't even living in Toronto fully at the time, and I actually almost got left there. My friend took off, and another friend came to find me, and I didn't know how I was going to get home because there was like no transportation.
No, you could not get a taxi to come to Canada's Wonderland.
I was scared so much because I grew up in a small town. I'm actually from Buffalo, Ontario, but I spent my summers in Toronto because my mother's family was here.
Oh wow! And like you say, it was farmland. So once you left the park, all the lights were out. Like it was dark. There weren't even street lights.
Exactly.
How'd you get home?
Another friend came in and found me and took me home. That was great. I never so relieved in my entire life. But I will say that Vaughan has changed a lot, and I'm happy to see it change, and I'm happy to see more film festival and more arts and culture come into a vibrant city above the city of Toronto. And do you see that we could, like, what more could be done to make that happen?
Absolutely, Janette. Great question. I was just speaking with some people here at the spring launch about how we could bring everything that we need to cities like Vaughan so you don't have to feel like you need to trek all the way into the downtown core of Toronto. So this Vaughan International Film Festival is an example of that, right? TIFF is great, but if you could pull the same celebrity, the same talent, the same red carpet energy to Vaughan, why not have it here, right? So I think we could do more of that with supporting arts and culture, bringing in more entertainment, and it sounds like from the audience here, more people want that in Vaughan.
I think so, because Vaughan, culturally speaking, it has a multicultural area, and we love culture and we love arts and entertainment. So yeah, why wouldn't we? We should have a formidable theater, a formidable opera house.
Can you imagine an outdoor music festival in Vaughan?
Well, actually, that's in the way. coming. It's in the works.
There you go. So there's an appetite for it, right? People have lived here long enough, and they want to have these incredible shared experiences, right? Like, where can we get a large gathering, a large audience for something shared, like a film or a concert? Bring it out to Vaughan.
But now let's just turn it back to you a little bit, because I want to hear a little bit more about you and how you got to be a journalist on News Talk with your own show, The Rush.
Yeah, it's been a long time, Janette. It's been a long time. 15 years ago, so I started as a radio reporter, TV reporter with CTV in British Columbia, and then Toronto, and I had been with CBC for about 10 years, and then joined with CTV. We launched Quibi, and then I joined CP24, and I've been part of the Bell Media family for several years now, and I love it.
And what do you personally see, like, have you experienced a lot of change for women in the industry, as Lisa LaFlamme came out with, and I have to say I experienced that myself. I'd like to hear if you've experienced any of that yourself.
Yeah, well, I would say I'm the first woman to host The Rush for 4 hours on News Talk 1010.
Congratulations.
So things are changing, right? The industry is changing in some ways. I hear what you're saying. It's not that we haven't been around. It's just that we are now getting the opportunities to shine. And I encourage it. I think we need to be more brave, but also we need to have that door open for us. We can't just keep banging on a locked door, right?
That's correct. We need a seat at the table. And we need the head of the table to sit at the head of the table. So I have one last question for you, and that is, what would you like to see change in journalism for young women, and what advice do you have to young journalists coming through?
Great question. I would say we need to have better protections for all journalists to do their job, with social media being so prevalent these days. The ability to find a journalist's home address, phone number, email, and then harass them is so much more easier now. And it could just be based on a misunderstanding. So I know some female journalists who just had their name and email put into a terrible posting, and they had nothing to do with it, and their entire life is ruined. So I don't know what those protections are, Janette, but I think that is one of the biggest concerns for women in the industry these days.
Well, certainly even a PR person should be protecting them too, right? You're not supposed to harass journalists.
Yeah, I don't know whose responsibility it is, because it's the internet, right? So journalists need to go on social media platforms to reach people, right? To book an interview or to get a quote. But that also makes them available to people who want to harass them. So how do we find a way for them to do their job without making themselves open to that kind of harassment?
Okay, now you do The Rush almost every single day, and you cover all kinds of really relevant lifestyle topics. Do you have like a favorite thing about your show that you would like to share, and the least favorite thing?
My favorite is call-ins. So please call in.
Okay.
Call in. It's a 4-hour-long call-in show. We discuss the news, and everyone's voice matters. So I love when the phones light up, and I can see an array of names that I know that we're going to have a great conversation ahead of us. AM radio not available in cars is a problem. That's what I would like to see change, because I'm on the AM dial.
Okay, yes. Yes, so if there's anything else you'd like to say now, or give us your website address, we call this the shameless promotion part.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I know you're a podcaster. Our show's also available as a podcast, so if you look us up wherever you get Janette's podcast, you can find our podcasts as well. Newstalk1010.com is our website. And I would just end by saying congratulations on your many years of success, Janette. It's such a pleasure to have you at our spring launch today and to hear about all of your successes.
Thank you, and your successes as well. And I look forward to seeing us both around for a number of more years.
Thank you.
And I also want to say that it's been a pleasure interviewing you.
Thank you. I've had a great time too.
I'm standing here with Antonio Yanko, who is the head of the Vaughan International Film Festival. Please tell us how you brought this vision to life.
It was a passion of wanting to see a film festival for filmmakers, because myself being a filmmaker for over a decade prior to starting this, just felt like film festivals didn't always offer an opportunity for artists to not only showcase their work, but get some sort of education from it. A workshop, a seminar, an industry contact. So we made it a mission to create a festival that catered to the filmmakers, that made them feel like they were something special. So that week is all catered to short films, but you wouldn't know it based on, again, the type of festival that we put on. We hear that all the time from these emerging filmmakers, so we're excited to be able to continue to bring it to life.
What do you think will be a little different about the 2023 festival that maybe we haven't seen in the past?
The fact that we had a year to plan it, let's start with that.
Okay.
We've had 2 years of a pandemic. We had to pivot to a drive. I know everyone uses the word pivot all the time. We pivoted to a drive-in for the 2 years. To be able to have a full year to prepare with the team and bring it to life, you're going to see things that you haven't seen before, but I'm going to have to save that for the awards and the screenings this year, because it's an incredible treat that you'll get a chance to see.
Okay. So what is the hardest thing and the most exciting thing about having your role in this?
It's a lot of preparation, a lot of sleepless nights, but it's driven by a passion to see this thing succeed and to provide opportunities for these filmmakers, and that's what fuels you. But it's challenging. It presents its challenges all the time, but we're excited to be able to continue to bring it to life.
And what do you want to see happen? Like, what new things? Where do you want to take the vision to? What would you like to grow it to?
I'd like to see a week long of screenings eventually at some point. Like, we've got 3 days of screenings right now. It'd be great to have a week long worth of screenings, workshops and seminars wedged right in there, like during the day. Just opportunity for people to network, build relationships, and then wrap it all up with the award show. And we're almost there. We're at year 11 and we're already sitting at 4 days. So I'm super excited to be able to expand in that way.
Well, that sounds very good. So now let's tell our audience how we can get tickets to be attending the Vaughan Film Festival this year.
Great question, Janette. VaughanFilmFestival.com. Tickets go on sale today. May 16th at our spring launch is the official day that tickets go on sale. Visit our website, student screenings, International Block 1, International Block 2, and our award show. All available on our site.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to seeing you there again this year as a media sponsor.
And thank you, Janette, for coming out and being our media sponsor again for this year's festival. We couldn't do it without our sponsors and partners. So thank you, Janette, and the entire team.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us today on Janette's TV and Janette's TV podcast. I'm your host, Janette Burke, signing off. Please remember to like, comment, and share all our posts with your family and friends. You will find us everywhere on the streaming side: Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, you name it, we're there. And on the audio side, or the podcast, you will find us on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Anchor, Buzzsprout, BuzzFeed, and that list goes on. For a complete list of where to watch and listen to us, please check the show notes below. And until next time, continue to be fabulous.